Hello everyone, welcome to another build guide for last Epoch. Today I'm bringing back Shield Throw Paladin. This is gonna be a Smite proccing version, I think, with the changes to itemization and the changes to passives and some of additions of new uniques like devotion. Paladin is with Shield Throw is way better now with Smite. A bit of a disclaimer, everything I'm gonna show in this build, you can play with Hammer Throw, you can play with Multi-Strike, so the itemization wouldn't change much. It will be a matter of what are you using in order to proc the Smite. So again, you can play this with Hammer Throw, with Multi-Strike, right? Let's show some gameplay, so you guys see it. Obviously, we're utilizing devotion like I mentioned in this build, and what you want to do is you want to get as much mana as you can. You want to have Smite casting. You guys see my mana is going down, and then you make your shield throw cost low mana, and then you just, well, you guys see basically what happens. You just do a lot of damage. This is Arena 100, so you get an idea of the. Again, the patch just started, so keep in mind my crit chance is really low. I don't really have good mana. You're gonna have like up to 400 mana with this build. I don't have good attunement. I basically am just recycling some old gear in order to make the video. But you can see the smites are critting for like 5k, 6k, and we don't even have armor shred or shock or lightning shred. So my guess is that with good gear, your smites are gonna be critting mobs for probably 20k, and right now we're getting a bit less. So that's how the build is played. Again, you wanna keep your mana low, so devotion gives you as much flat damage for smite as possible. You wanna use sigils, you know, to get your increased damage and your flat damage. You want to get it on instant cast, so you can keep casting it even if without losing DPS. You want to get volatile reversal for attack speed. You're gonna use lunge and spect, you know, just to get away from pools of damage or you know, big AoEs or whatever. And you're gonna need Holy Aura for the classic attack speed, haste, crit. If you need some resistances, the cleanse, the poison res, the classic. So again, I'm gonna go into a planner now, so we can actually discuss the itemization and the passives with what would be best in slot or actually good gear, because like I mentioned, my gear is a bit, and the build works with bad gear, but you get an idea. So the one thing that you're gonna need to play this build are gonna be the smite idols. You know, the more idols you have and the better they're rolled, the better. So keep in mind you have at least one of these. Ideally you want to have 4. You want to prioritize the chance to cast smite, so you know, try to get 8%, 9%, and as a suffix you want to get either block effectiveness, or you know, you could get health, you could get chance to shred with a fire skill, since shield throw and lava burst are technically fire, right? Or you can make them fire rather. So yeah, then you want to use, you know, the small idols to cap your resistances, whatever you need, etc. So let's take a look into the skills fast. Volatile reversal, really straightforward. Again, if you don't enjoy volatile reversal because you think it's too flashy, you could use something else. You know, you could use Ring of Shields or something like that, right? You could change your passive. You could play something a bit more defensive. You could play maybe Shield Rush. You could spec Lunge, so Lunge cast smites. But I'm going for volatile because I think it's really important for the build. And this will help us do a lot of good single target when we get the volatile reversal debuff into the enemies. So again, we stack the attack speed, and you know, you just use it on cooldown to position, to kite, and to do a lot of attack speed. Sigils, we want to do an instant cast and we want to add mana cost. So again, we can keep our mana really low and we get all the increased damage, some spell damage, some armor, some duration, and we get 5 sigils, so we get even more increased damage. And then why not put this point here just for the extra healing effect, regen? You know, we're a paladin, so we're gonna have a lot of healed regen just by default. Smite, again, this is the important part of the tree. Let me show you the proper tree here. But basically you want to have all the base crit chance, really important. You want to have the cost reduction, all the increased damage. You want to have the blind, more damage, because you're going to be blinding obviously by default, and you have some blind on the either on your weapon or on the passive in Paladin. Again, you could also put only 2 points here and go more into the crit multi. This is kind of like up to you. And obviously you need at least 2 points to get here and in order to grab the lightning conversion. The reason we're going lightning and not fire, it's because lightning is just a better element in order to do damage, because we can scale shock, we can scale lightning shred, and those are damage multipliers that, for example, fire doesn't have, because fire doesn't scale with shock. And not only that, but in Paladin gets crit multiplier for lightning skills and not for fire skills, right? On the passives that we will go over. Again, Holy Aura, all the attack speed, the crit multi. I'm using this cleanse because I think it's really good to cap your poison resistance. If you have a tier 5 plus this and a bit of an idol, you can cap your poison resistance. All of the attack speed, the haste, the crit chance, because we actually need crit chance with this build. And you know, you can put this extra point maybe here. You could shift points from crit chance into elemental resistances if you need them. If your gear is not good enough and you need to cap your reses, you can just shift these 5 points into here, okay? And then for shield throw, really straightforward. We want to get the 2 ricochets. We want to reduce the mana cost as much as we can with no cooldown. We will make right now the mana cost is going to be reduced by 20, but then we're going to add mana cost, right? And we will take the mana cost down to 0 with our minus mana cost for throwing attack on rings, both of our rings. So shield throw will be 0 mana. It will cause lava burst. Lava burst is a spell, right? So everything that is spell related would scale the damage of this, and we get all the more damage. So lava burst actually does some significantly damage. Again, lava burst is not gonna do insane amounts of damage, but you know, this is gonna be basically to clear the trash. It's gonna be and smite will be more for like the big chunks of damage. And not only that, but you get the armor granted on ricochet. Basically what happens when you play with the armor granted on ricochet, I'm just gonna show you it really fast. But right now we have 3000 armor, which is a lot to begin with, right? But you're gonna see that if we stack our ricochets right now, you can see how the armor is gonna start ramping up like crazy because of that passive that we just grabbed. You can see the armor you can reach 20k armor easily, right? No problem. So that's why you grab that passive there on the shield throw. For passives, again we get our basic 20 points, right? We get our strength and our resistances. We get our vitality. We get our damage reduction. Void Knight. We want to get our health and our resistances. This is basically standard on every sentinel. We get 5 points here in order to get shield throw. You can go for block chance, you can go for strength, whatever you prefer. I like the block effectiveness since we're stacking block. And then for Paladin, we know we get the lightning penetration and the damage, the attunement, because Smite scales with attunement. With some elemental res, we get the adaptive spell damage while using a shield. Again, this is very massive, because when you're a Paladin and you use a shield, you get 30 adaptive spell damage plus 16. So you're getting 45 adaptive spell damage, 46, right? Adaptive spell damage for free for just using a shield. That's more than some weapons, right? So you're basically getting an extra wand for free, pretty much. So using a wand and a shield, it's more damage than using a 200 weapon flat damage, right, on a mage, which is insane. I think these points are completely overtuned. And they should probably go down to like 15, and they should go down to like 10, probably, in my opinion. And maybe they could have an extra. They could add an extra effect, but that's a different discussion. These are absolutely bonkers. You cap your necrotic resistance with this. You get your crit avoidance with this. Again, the crit multiplier with lightning skills that I mentioned for smite, plus the crit chance for spells. The health on block with the. So every time we block, we have Bastion of Honor with this build. So we're gonna be blocking a lot. And we get our mana HP stacker So again, you can see with the final gear, you're gonna have around 3000 HP. You could reach, I'm building increased armor on my gear, on my boots, etc. But you could go for flat HP and you could reach 4,000 or 5,000 if you want it. But I think it's gonna be more effective probably to go for a bit more of percentage armor, since armor scales so well with this build with shield throw. It might be a bit overkill, but it's up to you, whatever you get. And you can see with we have 400 mana with this build, and we're gonna go low mana, right, with the Smite spamming and with the Sigil spamming. So with Devotion, I mean, you can just do your math, depending on how much mana you have. I mean, just take a look at it, right? Like for every 5 missing mana, you're gonna be getting 1 adaptive spell damage. So every 10 missing mana would be 2, right? 100 missing mana would be 20. 400 missing mana would be, you know, like 80 flat damage for Smite. So it gets pretty bonkers. That's what I'm trying to say. Again, Bastion of Honor, it gives us mana, it gives us health. It's absolutely bonkers for damage reduction. We have 65% damage mitigation on block, plus the damage reduction of nearby enemies. And again, you can just use lunge to get close to enemies. Enemies are going to be running into you, so it's not a problem. And again, or armor, as you saw, you're going to have 80,000, whatever. And again, you can take a look at the planner, but you basically get throwing attack speed, you get crit chance, and again, very important that you try to get it didn't save in my planner. I'll make sure it's fixed in the description. But you want to make sure you get the mana throwing attacks, the mana reduced cost on your rings, on both of your rings, okay? So shield throw gets to 0 mana. Again, ideally, because you only need a tier 1, what you want to do is you want to get crit chance on your rings, tier 5, and seal a tier 1 throwing attack, right? Because it will actually have insane value for you. So you get the tier 5 throwing attack speed, the tier 5 crit chance, and you get the tier 1 sealed minus mana cost. And again, with this build, you know, once you're done, you're gonna have like 200% attack speed, throwing attack speed. You're gonna have close to 70% crit chance with Smite, and and it's just gonna be nuts. You're gonna have a shit ton of lining spell damage because you're scaling with all the attunement scaling. The passives from Paladin give you 100 increase lining, and again, just you're gonna have a lot of increased lining damage. And again, you're gonna be stacking Shred, you're gonna be stacking Shock, and it's just gonna be nuts. Why am I using a Coral Wand? The reason I'm using a Coral Wand is because it comes with chance to Shock. It comes to -3 mana, right? Like every wand, so Smite doesn't cost any mana. So we can cast it even when we're negative with Shield Throw, being 0 mana. And it comes with flat spell lining damage. The reason this is important is because this will give Lava Burst, right? On Shield Throw, instead of the damage being adaptive and converting to fire, it will be flat lining, so it will scale with your increases to lining damage, with your increases to lining shred, etc. Again, this is not mandatory. You could just go for a rune dagger if you wanted. You could just go for a crystal wand for extra mana. It's kind of up to you, but I put it here on the planner just to showcase what is possible. And again, thank you guys for the build. It's a bonkers build, and again, once you get the idols, you can start going. It's super tanky, and in my opinion, if you're looking at arena, it's gonna be one of the best arena pushing builds there are. And the only downside, to be honest, is that the bossing is not so good, because you know, you can't really bounce so easy. Again, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoy the build. Bye bye.